We have to wait for some time so that people join in again.
No, that's fine.
Hello guys, hi. We are joining back. Sorry for the interruption. So we're just waiting. कुछ लोग कुछ देर और वेट करते हैं ताकि कुछ लोग और ज्वाइन कर लें जिन लोगों को मैंने लिखा था वहाँ पर चैट पे. Let's wait for some more people.
Yeah, and let's take the Q&A.
Yeah, in the meanwhile, हम लोग Q&A start करेंगे. So those people who have already joined and have questions for Aditya, I would like to mention that please send your questions in the comment section so that we start taking Q&A, and till that time other people will also join. So अगर आपके पास questions हैं, so please अपने questions live chat में लिख दीजिए so that we start taking question and answers. Yeah. So Aditya, let's wait for people to join.
Okay.
And also let's see about the previous video if we can get hold of that or not. Okay, so we have got a first question here by Shivanshu Sharma, and then the question is, I'm thinking of buying Fujifilm X-H1 for photography. Is it good, or should I go for Fujifilm X-T3?
For photography, definitely yes, because I really love what X-T2 and X-H1 used to provide for, especially for photography. Because I remember I shot like some insane pictures in France, only with like X-T2. I think X-H1 also has the same sensor, and it's amazing, especially in low light also. It's so good, and you don't definitely need X-T3 if you're not so particular about like 20% of better autofocus. Though I think I think I answered that there.
Yeah.
But you should definitely try XH1 because it's got like this it's like Mercedes car, man. It's so good in your hand, and it's got this beautiful shutter. And once you get used to XH1 and the grip on it, I think it's one of the best. I'm just hoping they'll release XH2, and that will be my camera for life. Let's see.
Okay. So unfortunately, we have lost a lot of questions that we had in the previous section. But let's see. Let's see. People might join us. Okay.
Yes.
So next question I will answer. This question is by NK Wedding Photography. Fujifilm 100mm lens. So Fujifilm 100mm, basically Fujifilm has a 80mm macro, sir, and Fujifilm has a 90mm lens. So 100mm is not there. So 90, if you calculate in a 35mm format, it becomes 135, and 80mm, the macro, that if you calculate, that becomes 120mm. So these two lenses are there. So the lens that Aditya was talking about was a different brand lens, his previous lens. So वो बात कर रहे थे उस time पर. Okay. So there is a interesting question. I don't know if you can frame it. It's a very big thing, a big question, that how to decide on the storyline. It's been asked by Dalveer.
How to decide on storyline?
Yeah, on the storyboard, basically.
Okay. I'm so zoned out right now. Okay, so storyline.
Basically, if you how do you choose the, let's say, if I how do you choose the locations, or how do you choose, let's say, about Cold Mist that was playing earlier. So Cold Mist में what made you shoot underwater, or what made you shoot on the roads?
I was just the cinematographer in Cold Mist, so the director had this thought. I'll just speak a little bit about Daria. Daria is my really good friend. She's a great director. I've been working a lot with her. Most of my work is with her. So Daria, when she thinks like in layers. So when she thought of the underwater, it was literally coming from the space where two people, when they get into a relationship, they dive into the relationship, and then once you're inside the relationship, there are kinds of problems we go through. Either we are in like really smooth, happy relationship in the water, or like sometimes you want to come out of it, but you can't come out. People won't let you go out. Sometimes you don't want to go out. You don't let others go. So that was the whole idea behind why we went with underwater, the whole sequence. But it was completely Darya's idea, and also Pratik Kuhad had already shot an underwater poster for the cover. That was way before, and then that became a good inspiration for us to even think about it and then do the shots. But definitely, it depends on, like, everything starts from the idea. Idea becomes a script, and then you as a cinematographer read the script, or you write the script if you're a director, and then from there everything starts. I told this before also in one of my other videos, where when you get the synopsis or the script, you actually visualize क्या होगा, क्या colors होंगे, क्या video होगा, क्या motion होगा, everything in your head, and then you talk to your director and your producers, and then explain them what you have in your mind, and then from there you make a storyboard, or you come up with a color palette, and then you sit with the director and do the shot breakdown, and then after the shot breakdown you go on and like find recce, look at the locations, and in the locations what is the light availability, and in the location what all colors you would like to see with the character to that particular time of the script. So it's a process like that it starts. But for everything, it's the idea is the beginning. And how to come up with an idea, that I don't know.
Okay. So yes, as I told you, it's a very vast topic. So okay. So now I'll take up next question. I'll quickly answer this. So this question is by Dipankar Das. So he's asked that for cinematography, what if he has a budget of let's say 1.5 lakh rupees, which Fujifilm he should go. So I definitely suggest, and Aditya has also recommended XT3. XT3 with the kit lens of 1855, 2.8 to f4. It's a good go, and it's much within your budget, and you will get extra money also to spend on a gimbal or a slider or a good tripod or any other accessory that Aditya just mentioned.
Yes, monopod. Correct.
Yes. So next question is by Moksh Lab. The question is: are there any disadvantages of using crop sensors in professional shoot?
See, that's what I was trying to explain. Like the disadvantages up to your head. Like say, for example, again, how companies make your weakness as their like money. So, like say, for example, bokeh has always been like the only thing that people compare with the full frame and the crop frame. So one disadvantage is the light. The light that comes into the sensor is definitely lesser than full frame, but that doesn't now anymore stop, because the lenses have come out with like wider apertures. The lenses have become much different. The whole scenario now is completely different. So definitely, even today there are so many people who don't go for RELF format even when they're shooting Hollywood films. It's just because the kind of image they want is what decides what camera they would want and what they would choose. But definitely there are, at this point of our times, I don't think crop sensors are any bad, or even smaller sensor than that have like shown time and again that it's got much better, and it's got much useful over a period of time. And definitely full frame and crop sensor, it's not a myth or anything. Like there's not like a huge difference if you compare it to like say medium format. There is like this big of a difference, but when you compare from full frame to like one and a half times, it's literally nothing, man. Like it's like, because we are in this age and date, it kind of becomes like, oh, there's a lot of difference. Absolutely, there's very less difference. If you were in film, you would understand, because then it used to be like 4x4 medium format, and then come to like full frame 35mm, and then that. So the difference is very negligible from full frame to 1/5. But having said that, it again comes down to like what is your availability with the resources, what is your, and if you in Fuji, if you want to go and you want to stick with the color science and everything, you can definitely try GFX 100. I've done a small review on that also. Like if you can, like then you can see the actual difference between bigger sensor and smaller sensors. So, yeah. I hope I answered that correct.
Yes. So before taking next question, I just like to mention this one point that there are some people asking about technical queries about the timeline or the encoding and all these parts. So मैं सबको बताना चाहूँगा that we will have a separate session, guys. We will have a separate session for the editing or the footage part. This session was dedicatedly for video equipments, so we'll definitely go for it. And since you guys have already watching Pathshala, this is the second topic, so we have around 7-8 more topics to run through, and you will definitely enjoy this. I just want to request that जितने लोगों ने सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है इस चैनल को, प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब द चैनल, बिकॉज यू गेट द इन्फॉर्मेशन जब भी हम लोग ऑनलाइन आएंगे या जब भी कोई वीडियो अपलोड होती है. सो या let's go forward. Let's take the
One
next.
question I read in the previous thing is about the 180-degree rule. Someone had some sir had actually mentioned about the 180-degree rule. I want to mention there are two 180-degree rules. Like I should have clearly mentioned here 180-degree shutter rule here, because this is for the shutter speed I was talking about, where the shutter rolls like 180-degree angle. That is what I was saying. The 180-degree he was talking about was for placing the subject and not crossing that 180-degree rule. That was a completely different thing, and that also I would say you should definitely break that. I have done it before. I have always jumped axes, and I have actually gone to other sites and shot some, because I'm a self-taught cinematographer. Sometimes I do still make a lot of mistakes, but my gaffer and even my boom operator sometimes says, "Sir, you're jumping the axis." And then I kind of see, no, but that works for the story, then let's take it from there. And then so many times we have jumped axes and stuff, and luckily I work with the directors who are always willing to experiment and stuff and see. And then most of the times it works, sometimes it get kind of jitters. That's when you need to cut down your ego and say, okay, fine, I'll stay in 180-degree, I'm sorry. So I even listen to my boom operators, all these people who actually help me on the set.
Thank you so much, Aditya. So, Aditya, we have a question related to wedding films. Okay. The question is Studio Rainbow Allahabad, sent by this account.
Hello.
Yeah, the question is sent by Studio Rainbow Allahabad. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. As a cinematographer, what kind of shots you suggest to shoot more? Like wide angles or close-ups or any other in wedding, especially if in terms there's a wedding scene that you're shooting, Aditya.
So see, honestly, weddings, one thing is very important, because we know the setup. It's more about it cannot have like too much jitter. We definitely cannot do too much handheld. There's some things I think will work best. I'm telling you this. One is the motion should be really smooth. So I would say having a fluid head and a monopod is very helpful. And two, because you can't go too close onto the subjects, you can't go too close onto the bride and just like keep your camera and start shooting. You need to be away. So telephoto lenses make much more sense for especially wedding filmmaking. And I would say definitely you should keep experimenting. Like you should definitely have a macro lens in hand, because you want to show those details of like rings, say hands, or like say eyes and all that. So you should definitely have those things in mind. And at the same time, when you want to capture the whole thing, having like something like a 16 f1.4 and doing a gimbal movement, like a slow smooth motion, I think will help a lot. And it's literally, because now I feel like when I'm like, as soon as you said wedding, my first 2-3 words that pops to my mind is like love, happiness, all these things. So all of these relate according to the smooth motion. It doesn't have like any kind of jitter or any kind of, unless you have some kind of a narrative for your wedding film. But most of the times, I think gimbals, monopods, and then keeping it a little away, and then doing telephoto, and one macro lens to get a tripod shot, and then one wide angle lens or like zoom lens, like a 1635 or 1655 f2.8, to have the like flexibility of zooming in and out whenever you want. So yeah, I hope I answered that.
Yes. So we have lost a lot of questions, honestly.
Okay. No, whatever we have, let's just take few. And then...
Yeah. So there's a question. Let's take this question. Okay. How can one start collaborating or getting a job in cinematography in the industry?
See, collaborating is a long process. You meet people, and then through them you kind of meet other people, and you end up getting your set of a team. And it takes time to build an entire team. That's separate. How to become a cinematographer is like, if you're young, you can actually learn and go to a film school and do it. If you are young but you don't want to spend so much on film school, you still want to pursue what degree you have, you can, on one side, you can start shooting, you can start understanding cinematography, learn on YouTube and other platforms where you can learn, like say Skillshare, Udemy, and all that places, and then understand filmmaking as a whole, and then getting yourself a camera and start shooting. If you don't have a camera, if you don't have an access to it, start shooting with your iPhone, start shooting with whatever phone you have, and then from there, I think slowly build a profile for yourself, create yourself a YouTube channel, put all those videos, and then like after 20th video, you will see your old video and say, what have I shot? And then you'll delete all of it, and then you redo it, you make new stuff. I think that's how you build yourself a portfolio as well, and also you go into a right direction where you understand cinematography as an art form, and automatically in this process of creating things for yourself, you'll meet people, you'll meet directors who want to actually work with you. You'll meet friends who want to say a story, and then you can actually shoot for them and stuff. And like, it's a building process, it's a time taking process. You need to be patient and keep shooting, and that's what I'd say.
Okay. So there's a question again by Dipankar. I would like to answer that. The question is basically if Fujifilm has a technology where the shutter comes up to the sensor while changing the lens. So not as of now, it's not there. But there are certain drawbacks also to it. There is a restart time that is added to the camera if you're going to change the lens, which sometimes during the live shoot can create problem.
Though
So
also I've heard like sometimes what happens is you get stuck. But anyway, it's a good technology to add. I think over a
correct, yeah.
generation or two, I think we'll definitely come up with it.
Yes, yes. Okay, so gimbal, what is the point to be, keeping in mind when you select a gimbal? So there's a question, gimbal कौन सा लेना चाहिए? So आप कौन सा बोलते हो कि gimbal कौन सा लेना चाहिए?
See, again, it all depends on your weight of the camera. So if you're sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, please go ahead. बोलो बोलो please.
Okay, so it completely depends on the weight of your camera. Say for example, I use Zyncrane 2, which I bought like 4 years back. Now I want to upgrade it to Zyncrane 3S, the new one which has come. It's literally because I have a bigger camera now, or like I use bigger cameras, so I kind of want like the gimbal to actually take the whole weight. So I would say DJI Ronin S that has come in the market is really good for like something like Fuji. But if you want in more budget style, then Zion Crane 2 is not a bad option because it's old and it's quite cheap now. And if you want to get the latest and the greatest, then you can definitely try Weebill S or like 3S, which is going to come very soon by Zion. And I kind of like Zion because their support is really nice. They keep updating their software and stuff, so I think I kind of like them. But if you want to be safe and if you want to play safe and you want to go with a proper big company, then yeah, DJI Ronin S is a good way to go ahead. But it's very simple, man. Now I think like a lot of options for like whatever size of the camera you have. Even for your phone, there are like good gimbals.
Yes. Okay. So Aditya, what we'll do is we'll take two more questions. Okay.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
we'll wrap up the session.
Okay.
So first question is, which frame you love shooting more in your films? Basically, it's 24 or it's 50, 60, or like on what?
Very cliched answer I'm going to give. Literally, I love to shoot in whatever frame rate that works for the film. Like literally for bird watching, I had to shoot either on 60 FPS or 120 FPS because there was no other go, because birds literally go like this. You have to literally track them fast, but when you see it, it doesn't seem like it's like slow motion. It seems very smooth and very. So you need to. It all depends on the story. Like say for example, something like coldness, I can't do I can't do slow motion much because there's no what do you call it, scope for doing any slow mo shots. But I would always stick to 25 FPS because I'm in PAL region. I've never shot on 30. I should admit it because I kind of like 25 because it's more like in my style. And yeah, I think 25, or when you want to slow mo it, I shoot at 60 and then confirm it at 40% speed, and or shoot it at 120 FPS on Fuji with 1080.
Okay, so next question that I'll take is, I think, related to the previous one only. So let's say let's say in the scene, if there are two or three shooters, okay, majorly into events. So is it really necessary to have the settings of the frame rates and all everything similar?
Yes, very important. See, this is something that like frame rate is still fine. Like say for example, if someone is shooting slow motion, like say 60 FPS, and if I am shooting 25 FPS, I can easily slow mo it and use. Actually, that'll be a good thing to have like some of the B rolls. If you set the second shooter to make maybe like shoot close ups and get the details and all in slow motion, that'll be better. And to come back and edit on the edit table and make those slow motion and mix it with the A footage. But what settings? The most important thing is both of you should definitely shoot flat or log profile. The reason is like light keeps changing. You don't know what's like if you change profiles. Like it's the most biggest problem, especially when you shoot with two camera setup or three camera setup. Especially because as a cinematographer you will go through these problems where you need to have like three or four cameras and you need to set all of them together. Alike is mostly definitely picture profiles, to have flat profile or log profile, because it's easier in the post to color correct and bring together. And especially if it's two different brands, definitely shoot with log for sure. There is no other go. And apart from that, I think everything else we can manage in post.
Okay, so ending it up, I have a question here. This question came from the last chat also. I mean, and thank you so much that this question has come back. So there was a shot in, let's say there was a shot in Hold Tight, I guess, where the camera had been kept in the refrigerator. Was it a refrigerator? How did you make? What was? If you can
Is
break
it
down that.
stage?
I think Sage. I think Sage. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Sage.
it's a refrigerator. Like I kind of took my camera, put it. I have made myself a little small bun kind of a thing which I don't have right now. I'll just show it with a towel and I don't know. So I kept it. I have that bun kind of a thing, and then I place it, and then I keep setting it, see it on my mobile phone to see how the shot is set, and then in the end we roll it through the mobile phone, and then we get the shot. But to light it up was quite a difficult thing. Then that's where I think these small lights come to play a lot. So I could have literally used like one or two of these lights and then light up, because when you open, it's quite dark. Only the refrigerator light won't be enough. So as soon as he opens on the Sidus app, I switch on the light and then we open. So that kind of light.
Okay. Okay. So do you want to say something in the end to the all the viewers?
See, one thing I want to say sorry because we had like a long list of other things that I wanted to cover, but because we had literally limited time, every time I get 3 hours, that used to get less. Now it's 2 hours, so it got like really pushed. What I would ask Saurav is whoever are registered, Saurav, I want you to send them this documentary. So send them this document, the PPT, so
Okay.
that if they can learn something or the other, they can learn from it. But I'll also try and answer on the link. In the end, I would like to thank Saurabh for daring me, and thanks to all of you for being there. I'm sure there are like 20, 30 dislikes in there, but it's fine. Thanks, man. I'm trying to do as much as possible to give it back. I hope you guys are having fun. Only thing I expect is like you guys literally learn from it somehow and then use it. That alone gives me happiness, man. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Aditya, for giving us your time. And you had been standing in without fan and everything. So thank you so much. It's really appreciated all over the comments. Also, if I go back to the previous stream that we were doing. Okay, so we are coming to the end of Pathshala topic second that we did today. That was selection of the photo equipment. Now we have a different topic. So I would like to request you to please follow the social media channels of uh, Fujifilm, which Facebook is basically Fujifilm X India. On the Instagram, it's again Fujifilm X India, and also on the YouTube. If you can subscribe this channel, you will get the update when are we coming next. So just to tell you, today is 7th. Next session would be on 10th, and on 10th we'll have a different session with a different speaker. Those who have already registered on the previous ones, you should get the link. Very soon after this session, you will get the on the social media also. You will get the registration link for the next session. The timing would be the same. And again, thank you very much, Aditya. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Fujifilm, for doing these things, man. What can I say? Very simple things, but very helpful for all the youngsters, man. Because I know for a fact, like these are some things that are very helpful. As I was growing, I didn't have any of these, so I think this is very helpful for you guys. Because it's free. I know people just like it's easy for you to close and stuff, but this actually give you some information, some helpful information.
Okay.
Thank you, Saurabh. You're the best man. You bear with me all the time.
Please.
See you very soon, man.
See you.
I love you, brother. I'll see you guys. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye bye. Bye bye. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye bye.